We're at the end of February 2024, and that can only mean one thing. It's time for a weigh-in. Thanks guys, thank you so much for joining me here today on this video. It's the monthly weigh-in, and I am going to share with you not only my monthly weigh-in results, but also all my ups and downs, my non-scale victories, and my progress in the month of February. If this is your first time joining me here today, a huge warm welcome to you. And if you've been here before, then it is great to have you back. So for those of you who are new, I am on a journey to improve my health, to change my life, and within that to lose weight. I'm currently following the Weight Watchers program, and to date I've lost 115 pounds. That is 8 stone 2 pounds. So what I like to do at the end of each month is do a review of my progress for the month, and that's what we're going to do today, guys. So I like to review all aspects of my journey, including the 4 pillars of Weight Watchers. So that includes my sleep, my activity, my mindset, and my food. Then I'm going to share with you my overall results and how I just generally felt across the month, and then I'm going to give you my scale result. So if you're ready, let's get going. So let's start off with sleep. So the month of February there was nothing unusual in terms of my sleep. Generally I sleep well. There may be the odd occasion where I am in pain due to my health conditions and I struggle with sleep, but generally I sleep really well. I have a good routine that I've built up for myself over time, and my routine starts first thing in the morning. So when I wake up, I'm running a bath, and then I come back in my room and I make the bed. I shake out all my duvets, all my pillows, fluff everything up, make the bed really nice and fresh, and then I go around and I dust the room. I vacuum it out once a week. I light my candles and spray it out. So by the time I leave my room, it is set up beautifully for night time. At night, usually about half an hour before I'm due to go into bed, I will put the electric blanket on that is in between my flat sheet and the duvet, so it's snuggled in between, and I'll put that on a warm setting, not too hot, just a warm setting, and then by the time I've had the bath and I've gotten ready for bed, I get in and it's lovely and snuggly and warm. I have a habit though of getting a set of pillows, and I put it at my feet and one at behind my back, so in the middle of the bed, and I find that this really supports my back and my feet. I can raise my feet a little bit, but also, and that helps with circulation, but I can also rest my back on the pillow as well, so I've got that extra support. Having it like that under my electric blanket with all my duvets, I'm snug as a bug, really warm, and that really helps with my sleep. I also have a few other things that I do. I always have the window slightly ajar, and that allows air to come in. I find it really difficult to sleep without air circulating, so I need to have that little bit of air. The window's not widely open, it's just a tiny little crack, but that just allows the air to circulate, so the room is fresh at all times with that air coming in, and that also makes a huge difference for me. So with all of those things, I sleep really well. 9 out of 10 times I have really good sleep, and then that just sets me up for the next day. I have really good energy levels, and then that supports me throughout the day for all the things that I need to do. So sleep generally has been good. There's been a couple of times this month though where my sleep has been a little bit disturbed because I've been in pain with my arthritis, particularly my feet, and that's why having that pillow at the end of the bed or by my feet in the bed helps because I can raise my feet as well, and that helps a little bit. The electric blanket keeps my feet really warm as well, so that helps. And sometimes I've been getting pain in my hips due to bursitis, so again that has kept me awake. There's also been 1 or 2 nights where I've just had a lot on my mind, and that has also disturbed my sleep, and I've been waking up usually about 3 or 4 in the morning, but then I'm usually scrolling through my phone and then I'll fall back to sleep. But generally my sleep is really good, but it's good because I've really put some actions into place to support that. The other major thing that really helps me with my sleep is I don't eat late. So as part of my intermittent fasting lifestyle, I stop eating at 6 o'clock, but 7 o'clock at the absolute latest I don't eat, because I just find it really difficult to sleep on an empty stomach. My body is working hard to digest that food in my stomach, and that just prevents me from sleeping. So since I've been practicing intermittent fasting and not eating late in the evening, that has made a massive difference to my sleep quality. So overall, I would say my sleep was a good 9 out of 10 for the month of February. My sleep pattern will be changing, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that later. Yeah, there's some big changes coming for me. So I've been going to bed much earlier than previously, but also waking up a lot earlier, because I just wanted to get my body adjusted to a new sleep time. But I'll tell you a little bit more about that a little bit later. My mindset for the month of February is, again, I'd say it was about a 9 out of 10. Pretty good. I'm constantly listening to podcasts of all sorts. Today I've listened to a podcast this morning about cults, and I always thought cults were in religion, and whilst the majority of cults are religious based, not all of them. Some are in businesses too, and also influencers can also be cults. So it's been really interesting, broadening my understanding and perspective of that. So I was listening to that this morning, and it's such an eye-opener, so I listened to podcasts about so many things. This afternoon I was listening to a podcast from a couple who are fitness and wellness trainers, and they run a gym, and this particular podcast I was listening to was about all the excuses that we make, especially the excuses to work out. So that was really interesting, and I could see myself in what they were saying. So yeah, very, very valuable. So I listen to podcasts every single day. There's not a day that goes by without me listening to something, and even the most obscure things, because I don't always listen to podcasts about health and wellness and weight loss. It could be all manner of things. I love listening to true crime podcasts as well. I love listening to audiobooks as well, although technically not a podcast, but I do enjoy listening to audiobooks. It could be religion, it could be yeah, any manner of things. I just go on my podcast provider, and I would just type in a word, you know, even gardening or cooking or, you know, grandchildren, and just listen to whatever podcast takes my fancy. So yeah, I just love listening to podcasts. So yeah, I do also join the Weight Watchers virtuals as well, and I've listened to some great virtuals this month, listening to members sharing their successes on the journey. that was truly, truly inspirational. And then yesterday there was a special event at Weight Watchers for the whole day, called Say Yes to Weight Watchers, and it was an opportunity to meet coaches and to hear their backstory and to get involved in some of the activities that they run, like the workouts, the live cook-alongs. It was just absolutely superb. So yeah, listen to those, and when I'm not doing those, then I do listen, as say, generally to podcasts. So my mindset has been really good, and listening to those podcasts, they just fill my mind with such positivity, but also it's broadening my knowledge about the world in general, and I love to learn. So just learning about the world, and you know, what's going on in the world and how people think, and yeah, I'm just enjoying so many different things by listening to podcasts. I did have a couple of times this month where I did have a little mindset wobble, and it was really interesting because last week I was doing it great up until last week when I had to take my cat in for surgery, and yeah, took him to the vet. He was being castrated, and that brought up a lot of emotions for me, and I realised there was a lot of unresolved issues and, you know, grief that had come up for me, and it reared its head in the emotions and me not coping very well. Well, it came in two parts, because I knew that I was likely to get emotional. I had planned for that, so I had booked myself in to have a pedicure, because you know me, girly girl, had my nails done today. I had my nails cut down really short, and I'm growing them again, so I had my nails done, but last week I had my feet done, so I had that planned, and went to Tesco's and was really controlled with my shopping, and really wanted to buy loads of treats, but decided, no, I'm going to buy some camembert cheese because I love my cheese, and I'm going to really enjoy that. I did buy my camembert cheese. I didn't buy any of the other treats, so I was really controlled. But then in the evening, went out the window, and I ended up head first in a family-sized bucket of KFC with 4 bags of chips, and also washed down with half a bottle of rum and coke. It wasn't just me, let me quickly add, it was me and a friend. So I learnt a lot from that. Because I hadn't needed to eat my feelings for a long time, and I thought I had it in control, but I didn't. But if you want to hear more about that, I will link a video for you somewhere up here. It'll also be in the description box below, so feel free to check that out. So I had that emotional, that wobble due to my emotions, but you know what? I learned a lot from that. So in a sense, I'm glad that it happened, because there can be times on the journey where I become complacent, because I'm like just sailing along. I can become complacent. So having that experience sort of pulled me back into check. I was able to just check in with myself, review my strategies, find what was working, find out what wasn't working as well, because I realised that everything was working for me great up until the morning, because I had everything planned. But then I got home in the comfort of my own home, went to pot. So yeah, do feel free to check that video out. Something else that was a real eye-opener for me in the month of February was I went to the movies one Saturday with a friend of mine, and well, I've been to the movies a couple of times in February. I went to see The Colour Purple, and I went to see the Bob Marley movie twice. And again, there was big reflections there for me. The first time I went with my friends, I hadn't prepared myself properly, hadn't taken any snacks with me. And I hit that cinema and the smell of that popcorn was overwhelming. So the long and short of it, I was head first in a family pack of Doritos. And I found it really difficult to control myself. And I ate the lot in the dark because nobody can see me and therefore it doesn't count. And if I had had a second bag, I would have eaten that too. So I learned a lot from that. And again, I will link the video up here and in the description box below if you want to check that one out. I talk more about that. So the following week, I was going to see the Bob Marley movie with a friend. And I thought to myself, I'm going to be prepared this time. So I did. I made my popcorn, put it in my bag, made some for my friend as well, put it in my bag. My friend came with loads of chocolate. Loads, which is lovely. It was very lovely that they did that. But I was like, this girl does not need chocolate. It doesn't need it. But that was a lovely gesture anyway. And when my friend picked me up, I had to go to the Tesco's to drop off a package. And something really interesting happened. My mindset was weak in that moment. And starvation mode kicked in. It was very interesting. Starvation mode kicked in. We were only going up to Telford. I live in Birmingham. We were going to this theatre in Telford, which was like 40 minutes drive. We were going to watch a movie and we'd be back home. So essentially, I would be out of the house for 5-6 hours, but starvation mode kicked in. It was so weird. So I went to Tesco's and I came out with drinks for myself and my friend. I bought about 3 bags of sweets and some crisps. Oh, and I bought a meal deal as well. Bought a meal deal. And let me tell you, the crisps, it wasn't just 1 bag. It was a 6-pack. I know. But to be fair, my friend does like cheese and onion, so that's what I bought. I bought a 6-pack of cheese and onion. I don't even like cheese and onion, but I bought it because my friend likes it. So we jumped in the car. We went off to Telford, got to Telford, parked up, went and bought the tickets. And it was a stressful time buying the tickets, let me tell you. Who'd have thought that it could be stressful buying tickets to watch a movie? But it was. It was. And by the time we'd got the tickets, we realised we had an hour and a half to spare. So we decided to go walking through the shopping centre. And not only did I have popcorn in my bag, not only did I have 3 bags of sweets, not only did I have drinks and a meal deal, but I saw Greggs. I saw Greggs and I said to my friend, I'm going to pop in there for a cup of tea. And my mindset was like, I'm just going to have tea, just going to buy a cup of tea. Because they don't sell tea in cinemas. You can't take the hot drinks in, which is fair dues. So I thought, I've got plenty of time. I will have this cup of tea. But it didn't stop there. Starvation mode, panic set in. And I ended up buying a pack of donuts. 4-pack of donuts. And I left this cinema, I left this shop, and as I was walking out with my tea and my bag of donuts and all of this food, including a meal deal and bags of sweets and a 6-pack of crisps, I thought, what is going on? What is going on with you, Angela? You know, it was like a great big trolley full of food, going to the cinema just to watch a movie. We'd be in there 2 hours at most. And my friend had said we were going to go to have something to eat afterwards. And it was like, have you ever, like, when I was a kid and we used to go like to the seaside, we used to like eat, then take a packed lunch, all of this food, and we'd take the chicken legs, the lot, you know, and then we'd get on the coach and we'd start eating. And it was almost like I'd gone back to that time. And I really surprised myself. Really surprised myself. Because when I'm at home and I'm watching a movie, those days are gone. And I don't know whether it was because I was out with this particular friend and we don't go out, for, like, you know, to the movies often. It could be because of that. Maybe I was just super excited to be out with this particular friend. But then I go out with my other friends as well, and we go to the movies, but I don't act like that. I really didn't get to the bottom of it. Didn't get to the bottom of it. So I sat in this movie, because I know what you want to know. You want to know whether I ate it. That's what you want to know. So got there, sat down. I'd finished my tea by the time we got into the theatre. And I sat down and out came the drinks. And I was like, okay, I'm okay with that. And then I started to think, am I hungry? And I wasn't hungry at all. Wasn't hungry. And I thought, do I want any sweets? No, I didn't. And my friend was pulling out, it like had in 2 pockets, like 3 bars of chocolate. I was like, seriously? So anyway, I was like, I refused the chocolates. And I just said to myself, Angela, this is madness. What is going on with you? I don't know whether maybe I was feeling anxious. I don't know what was going on with me, but it was like starvation mode had come in, and there was the intention to binge, the intention to just go on this binge fest. But because I had stopped and asked myself those questions, Angela, what's going on? Why are you surrounded by all this food? What is it you're lacking? What is it you're needing? What is it you're feeling? I made the conscious decision that food is staying in my bag. Staying in my bag. And it did. I just took out the drinks, and, you know, my friend was eating. Oh, I did have a pack of crisps. And I ate them, and I didn't even enjoy them because they were cheese and onion. Didn't even enjoy them, and didn't like them. So my friend took control of the crisps, and I was like, I need to deal with this. I don't know what's going on with me, why I'm feeling like this. I just don't know, because I'm not usually like that, you know. I don't know. It could be that when I go to the movies, it's always really local, and I hate motorways. I really do not. In fact, I think that was probably it, you know. Thinking about it, I think it was anxiety around the motorway. I do not like motorways. I don't drive on motorways, only at an absolute push, and even then it's just 1 or 2 junctions, and then I'm having a panic attack. But my friend was driving, and I do feel quite anxious when he's driving on, because he's very, very confident on the motorway. So just whizzing up and down and in and out, weaving, and I don't like that. I don't like that at all. So maybe I was feeling anxious about that. That was probably it. I was probably just feeling really anxious, really unsettled, and just had that need to comfort myself with food. And I swear, I must have spent about 20 quid. Between the two of us, I must have spent about 20 quid just on snacks that were in my bag. I know. So, but I was able to catch that before I ended up diving into the food. So I was quite pleased that I'd caught that. And then the following week, I went back to the movies with some more friends, and we saw the Bob Marley movie again. Now this time we were having an early viewing, and I hadn't had anything to eat, and I was running late, so made the conscious decision to buy a meal deal. So went to my local Tesco's, bought me a sandwich, because I thought if I just eat now, I'm not, you know, it just rules out any other opportunities for me to eat or snack or buy stuff there. So I went to the movies, but before I did, I went to my local supermarket. I bought me a meal deal, and in the movies sat at that, and that was it. I was satisfied. And then after that, me and my friend, we went for something to eat. And whilst we was in this local restaurant, I'd gone there with all intentions of being really good and having a really well-balanced meal. But this particular restaurant do really good fish and chips. And I just thought, you know what, I'm going to have it. I'm going to have my fish and chips. And, but again, massive portion. So I ordered a takeout box, cut the meal in half, and took half home with me. In fact, when we were leaving, I didn't really fancy it, so I was going to leave it, but then I thought, no, I'll take it home and give the fish to the cats, and they enjoyed that. But yeah, was happy with that choice, and that was it. I didn't need to eat or drink. Well, eat again. I did drink when I get home, but didn't have the need to eat, because now I was satisfied. I was really satisfied. I had the food that I wanted. It wasn't the healthiest choice, but it satisfied me. I had my sandwich earlier in the day, and that was it. That was good. So, you know, and then throughout the month, I also ate out twice as well. But again, made really good, sensible choices. Went to the Harvester, had the most delicious rotisserie chicken. Love their rotisserie chicken and their salad. And again, I've done vlogs around those as well, so do look out for them. I will put the link in the description box. So it had quite a lot for the month of February, but did have to really put the pause in, take that check, and acknowledge what was those feelings that I was trying to push down with food around going to the movies. What was it? Yeah. So interesting, very, very interesting. So a few mindset wobbles going on around food in the month of February. And yeah, recognise the emotional eating and the binge eating, and in the blog that will be linked before, the one where my cat was in hospital and I ended up headfirst in the bucket of KFC. I ate so fast and so much, I ended up being sick. A serious binge, But again, I recognise that that was about emotions. And you know what? And it's fine. It's fine. You know, in the past, I would have these episodes, but not really take the time to think about them and to think about what led to that and what caused those binging episodes and that emotional eating. I hadn't really stopped and thought about it. But being on this journey now, I'm really taking the time to think about that and to explore it and dig into it and say, do you know what? It's okay. It's okay that it happens. It's about learning from it and putting things in place so that I minimise it happening again. So, yeah, there was a lot to be learned in the month of February. I feel now that I'm back on an even keel, although I have got a major life change coming up in that I'll tell you about in a moment. So I'm going to have to use my skills of planning and really taking that pause and putting all those things in place so that I keep my healthy habits going. Yeah, because that a little danger point is coming up there for me. I've still been cooking, still been batch cooking, cooked up some meatballs and some sausages. Meatballs was earlier in the week, sausages I cooked this morning, and they're all just done, basic, in the freezer. And then as and when I'm ready to use them, I can just chop them up and stir them into, you know, add some sauces, you know. So I've got all the basics done this month. So that is around my food and my mindset. And my next area is my activity. My activity is still on the floor. It hasn't been resurrected. It is on the floor. Nothing has happened there. And do you know what? I got to a point where I was starting to beat myself up about it. But then I reasoned that it's okay. It's okay to do little activity in the wet, in the cold, in the damp, because it's been really, really cold. My arthritis is flaring up and I've just not had the inclination to do anything. But the mornings are getting brighter, the evenings are getting longer. I know that in the spring and the summer I will be active. I know that. Judging by last year, I will be active. So I'm not beating myself up over the fact that I'm not doing any extra activity. I'm just doing my normal everyday amount of activity, like going up and down the stairs when I can, going to the shops, or, you know, seeing my grandkids, that level of activity. But it's absolutely nowhere near what it should be. But it's okay. It's okay. You know, I'm not beating myself up about it, because I know that I'm doing well in all of the areas, and I know that it's going to change. It's going to change. So, yeah, because it's not something, you know, I have thought about doing online activities with on Zoom and also on YouTube. I'm not a big lover of that. My thing is I like to be in the gym. That environment really inspires me. So, yeah, but again, change is coming for me. So, and the weather's changing as well. Seasons are changing. So I'm sure my activity will be back up shortly. So my life change is happening. So I've made some changes and some decisions around my job because, well, I'm getting older, guys. I'm getting older, and I've just got a few more years to go before I'm hitting the big R, before retirement. I know, can you believe it? Can you believe it? Just got a few more years before I hit retirement. So I'm really thinking about what I want to do and what my life is going to look like and what I want my life to look like when I hit retirement. and I'm building the dream from now. I'm building it, and part of that is this YouTube channel. Yes, so you know, I want to build a channel so that when I hit retirement, or if I decide to retire a little bit early, then I know that I've got something that I absolutely love and enjoy that I can build and keep going. I've also got some really super exciting plans that I'm launching. Very exciting. It's coming soon, guys. It's coming soon. I'll tell you a little bit more about that towards the end of March, but I'm super stoked about this. So that's going to be happening. My day job, I am reducing my hours in my day job to work on a different project. And yeah, I'll tell you a little bit more about that yeah, in a couple of weeks as well. There's so much happening for me, but you know what? Only we can make it happen. I remember years ago, I was in a job, and a friend of mine said to me this one day. She said, Angela, you're always complaining about your job. She says, do you know what? She says, you're not a tree. If you don't like it, get up and do something about it. And at the time I thought, harsh. But she was absolutely right. Absolutely right. So I resigned. And when I resigned, it was scary. But then I realised, oh my goodness, there's a whole world out there for me to get involved in. And that's what I did. And I absolutely loved it. And I never looked back, and never regretted it for a moment either. So that's just come to mind the recently, and it's just, well, from last summer, to be honest. And last summer I was just thinking, you know what, you know, last couple of years before, you know, I retire, I might want to retire a little bit early. I need to set myself up, because the last thing I want to do is retire early and I've got nothing to go to, or retire at 65 and there's nothing. What am I going to do? What am I going to do with myself? You know, there's only so much hours you can clean the house, you know. So I've really been thinking about that, and just putting the wheels in motion. So it's just ticking. So as and when I'm ready, I can just speed it up. I've got a good foundation there. So within that, I am reducing the hours that I work in my day job, and I'm undergoing training for something completely different. So for the next 5 weeks, I'm going to be working or training full time, doing a 9 to 5, 5 days a week. So with that in mind, there's going to be change for me. So I'm already starting, and it starts on Monday. My training starts this Monday. So I've started to think about what's that going to look like in terms of my meals, healthy meals, and my intermittent fasting lifestyle. So today I went out to Tesco's and I started buying some stuff for things that I could take for a packed lunch, because where I'm going to be based, it's right in a busy shopping centre, and I know me, when the emotions get the better of me, I'm going to be in the supermarket, going to be in Greggs, going to be in the baker's. You know, temptation is too much. So I'm already getting prepared by thinking ahead of all those meals that I could prepare and take with me. Got all my containers ready. So yeah, just thinking that through. And also, I've always got a freezer full of soups and meals. So, you know, hence why I was making me meatballs. And so that I could put things out ready for my evening meal that needs little to do to finish off, or I can just warm it through and I've got a healthy, hearty meal to come home to. But it's my first meal of the day and my main lunch. That's kind of what I'm really, really thinking through to just keep those healthy habits going. So that's going to be a challenge. So I'll probably share with you a little bit more around that and what that looks like for me for those healthy meals, because, you know, for years I've been hearing people saying that, you know, they struggle with those lunchtime meals, especially when they're having to go out to work. So I just thought, you know what, I'm now in that position because I've worked from home since lockdown. So for 4 years I've worked from home. So it's going to be a challenge for me, you know, working different hours and doing the 9 to 5, certainly for my training. And then when my training is over, then I'm going to have some time working at home and sometimes, you know, out of the home, office space. So I'm going to have to look at that and see what that looks like for me in terms of still keeping those healthy habits going. So yeah, a lot for me to get around, but also I'm going to have to rethink my bedtime as well. So this past month I've been really working on my bedtime. I've been keeping that good bedtime routine going, but getting to bed a little bit earlier. So as soon as I've finished work in the evening, as soon as, you know, I'm free in the evening, then bath time, into bed. Yeah, doing those things to wind me down, to relax me, to get to sleep. And then I've been setting the alarm to get up a little bit earlier. So getting up at 7:15, 7 o'clock, and then doing that practice run, you know, getting bathed, getting dressed and being downstairs for the time that I would need to leave the house in the morning. So getting into that routine. So yeah, you know, that has been interesting because when you've worked from home for 4 years, for me, it's a big lifestyle change. It really is. So I've been thinking about that. So overall, you know, I'd say my sleep, I'd say, was a good 9. My mindset this month, I'd say, was probably about an 8 because of those wobbles. My food, I'd say, was probably about a 6.5. A lot to learn. I've learned a lot this month about that, and my activity is a 0. So overall, a fairly decent month. Lots of learning for me, lots of revelations, but also lots of non-scale victories too. There's been times where I've wanted the crisps and I've decided, no, I'm not jumping in the cart and going to Tesco's to buy any. You know, great non-scale victory. Those of you who know, I love toffees, love my toffees. I've not bought one bag of toffee this month, not even one. Not even one bag. Fabulous non-scale victory for me, because you know me, there's always, in my shopping haul, there is always a toffee, a bag of toffee or two. Not even one bag have I bought this month. So I'm really, really pleased with that. At the end of last month, my arthritis was really bad and I had quite a big flare up. And it's settled. It has settled, although some areas are still quite painful, but generally it's settled a little bit more. But I think the fact that I'm, you know, drinking all my juices, keeping warm as well is really making that difference. Yeah, you know, feeling pretty good overall about myself, you know, and who I am, and looking in the mirror and liking myself and loving myself, and feeling really good and comfortable in my clothes as well, is really good. And like, you can't see it now, but I've got some like black trousers on, and years ago I bought these, and they were so tight on me. Oh my days, they were ridiculously tight, stretched to the max, and now they're just really baggy. They're baggy, but I still wear them because, you know, it's a standard black and they're really comfortable. So that feels really, really good. I had lots of times playing with my grandchildren. Love seeing them. Absolutely love being with them. They just make my heart sing. And I just feel so blessed to have them with me. And, you know, got that really good relationship with them. So there's loads, absolutely loads that I'm so thankful for on my journey and this month. It's been overall a really good month for me. Really, really good month. So how did I do with my weight health? So I also got my results back, some results back from the from my diabetic tests, and my results were good. I'm still in that, I'm still diabetic. I'm always going to be diabetic, but my results for being a diabetic was at the lower end of the scale. So I was really pleased with that. Really pleased, because I always have that battle, that fluctuation. So really pleased with that. And still waiting for the results of my foot scan. I had a scan on my feet because of my arthritis is pretty bad and very painful. So my consultant was like, we'll have a little look at this because you might need surgery. So yeah, I'm still waiting for the results on that. But overall, do you know what? I'm here and I'm doing okay. So I took my measurements this month, and I wasn't surprised to see that I've lost another ½ an inch off my bust. And I absolutely feel my bust shrinking. Honestly, I used to be the girl whose bust entered the room 5 minutes before the rest of my body. Seriously. You know, I got teased for it. People would be looking and staring. I'd get all the comments. Yeah, I was busty, Angela. Seriously. And I am still busty now, but let me tell you, I was out there. And at night, my boobs used to like come up and choke me. That's how busty I was. I'd literally have to pick them up and put them in position. I was proper busty, to the point that I even got a referral years ago from my GP to a consultant at my local hospital for cosmetic surgery to have a breast reduction. That's how big I was. And the surgeon said, yes, he said, you are busty, because they do a special measure from your neck to, you know, on your bust. And he agreed that I was very large, and he agreed to do the surgery. But he said that I needed to lose the weight first. So yeah, never went back, because I struggled for years to lose the weight. Couldn't do it. So and this month I have felt, I do apologise, you know, if we've got any men here. I don't mean to make you embarrassed talking about my bust. I don't mean to do that. So I do apologise. But all month I felt that my back had just shrunk. You know, we all get that back fat. And it felt like my back fat had just got up and left. And one day I'm sat in my chair here and I'm like, oh my goodness, my back just feels so much slimmer, so much lighter. I don't feel like, you know, I'm not feeling the rolls and the folds of fat. I've still got some, don't get me wrong, I've still got some, but it just feels like a lot has disappeared. So, and, you know, when, like my sports top, you can't quite see here, but my sports top, I know it's stretchy, but, you know, there's just absolutely loads of room loads and loads of room in that. And all my other sports jacket, they're like really, you know, they still fit on the hips, but the bust is just like absolutely, it's like somebody's let the air out, you know, around my bust and around my back. So no surprise when half an inch down, and a good half an inch. In fact, I'd probably, it's not quite a full inch. It's not quite a full inch, and that's why I'm just going on the, you know, being quite measured and saying half an inch, but it's more like 3/4 of an inch. But I don't like to deal in 3/4 and 2/8 and, you know, all of that. It's either half or 1. So because it's not quite 1, it's a half. So yeah, so I've lost off the bust, but my hips and my waist have stayed the same, and I'm absolutely fine with that. I'm really, really pleased with that half an inch. I will tot up all my measurements and my inch losses. I'll do that for next month. I'll do that for you for next month, because I've got it written over a couple of different books. So I will take those measurements and give that to you. But I know that when I start moving more and I'm more active in over the spring and summer, I will see the changes in my shape, my hips and my waist. But for now, I'm fine. I do, because I'm not as active, I do feel like jelly on the plate. I will be honest. I don't feel, so last summer when I was walking and I was moving a lot more and I was lifting some weights and on the treadmill in the gym, I really felt it in my body, and my body felt so taut, so tight. My muscles were building. I felt really good and strong, but I feel like jelly on the plate. It's not a nice feeling, not a nice feeling. So I do want to get back to being active, but for now I'm doing as much as I can, and that's fine. My best is good enough. It truly, truly is. Yeah, generally feeling good. Apart from, you know, the arthritis with bad weather, damp weather, cold weather, that's always going to be an issue for me. But I think my mindset is really carrying me a long way. Yeah. So overall, I'd say a good month for me. Yeah, lots of learning, but a good month. Clothes are feeling good. I'm looking in the mirror and I'm liking what I see. I'm liking it. I like that, you know, when I stand in these, I know you can't see, but when I stand in these particular trousers, they're baggy on me. I like to see that. I like to see my sports top feeling loose. I like to see when I stand in the mirror and I look at me in my t-shirt, my belly isn't sticking out as much. I like that. I like to see, you know, my t-shirt falling straight down, off my bust, straight down, and not clinging to my bust, my hips and my belly. I'm loving that feeling. So I look in the mirror and I really like that. I look at my face and I can see my face. I can see my cheekbones. I can see my pointed chin. I see how much my face is changing. Like my neck, you can't quite see now, but you know, my neck, years ago, it was just like, my neck was so thick and it was, you know, very thick with fat. But I like what I see. In fact, I'm loving, absolutely loving what I'm seeing. I love me. I love how I'm looking. And yeah, there were bits of me, like my belly, you know, that I think are still a long way to go on that. But I'm learning to love my body and love what I see in the mirror every single day. Yeah. I'm no longer just scurrying past the mirror, but I'm actually stopping and looking and doing the old hair flick and, you know, putting the lippy on and, you know, doing all of that and really enjoying me. Yeah, I'm really appreciating me. And I'm so glad that I decided to take responsibility for me. Yeah, take responsibility for me and take responsibility for changing my life and putting those actions in place. Really, really pleased about that. And scale results. So stepped on the scale today. It's the 1st of March, so I always weigh either the last day of the month or the first day of the month. And because like the scales don't really mean that much to me, I completely missed. I got bathed and dressed and downstairs, and then I thought, oh, I started work, and then I realised it was you know, yesterday was the last day of the month. And by then I'd already got dressed, as I thought, I'll do it today. I'll do it today. So got on the scales today, the 1st of the month, and £2 off. So really, really pleased with that. So that brings me to £117. It also is an average of about £0.5 a week over the 4 weeks in the month. And again, I'm really, really pleased with that because, you know, I was thinking about this yesterday because somebody was asking me a little bit about my story and my journey. And I was sharing with them that my average, as of yesterday, is £115 off 8 stone 2 pounds. But it's taken me 5 years to do that. Now, my average is less than £0.5 a week. It's like 0.4. In fact, it's probably like 0.3. And I said to them, when I tell people how much I've lost, they're very impressed. But then I say it's taken me 5 years and it's less than £0.5 a week. And I actually worked it out. To lose £1, it takes me 2.5 weeks. 2.5 weeks to lose £1. But you know what? I'm pleased that my journey is slow. You know, in the past, I always went for fast weight loss. But I'm pleased it's slow because I'm learning. I'm learning what is helping me to keep the weight off. Because this weight is never going back on. That I can guarantee. It's never going back on. And I'm learning, like I shared with you earlier about, you know, my mindset crisis, you know, and food hoarding. I'm learning and I'm unpicking it. And I'm making those mistakes and I'm course correcting all the time. I'm learning. But if I was going for fast weight loss and being disappointed with £0.5 a week, I'd be restricting. And I'd be so focused on the food, and the weight loss, nothing else would matter. So I take the focus off the scales. I focus on the habits that's going to give me weight loss and keep the weight off. And when I have those crises, like I did in February, I learn from them. I pick them and I learn from them. And what I'm learning is to stop myself in the tracks and ask myself those questions, those critical questions. And I don't think that if I was going for fast weight loss, I would have the time or the ability or the energy to stop and analyse and really think about it and course correct. So I'm happy with £0.5 a week on average. And that is more this month. So last month I lost £1, which fits more with my average. This month I've lost £2, which is an average of £0.5 a week. So overall, it's less than £0.5 a week. And I say, I'm happy with that because I'm learning all the time. I'm learning to live my life, to enjoy food, to enjoy my alcohol, to enjoy my lifestyle, to live the life that I want and still steadily lose weight. Whereas if I was going for fast weight loss, half the things that I'm eating and drinking be off the table. And that's not a life that I want to lead. So yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy with £2 off this week. And if you know my story, I'm following the Weight Watchers plan, but I'm not tracking. I'm still not tracking. I did say last month that I was going to track for 1 week. And I tried, but I couldn't get into it. Couldn't get into it. Tracking is just not for me. Well, I say that tracking my food isn't for me. What I am tracking is my behaviours. I'm tracking my behaviours, and I'm tracking all the times that I have a wobble like I did this month that I've just talked to you about. I'm tracking that, and I'm exploring what were the behaviours, what led to it, and dissecting it so that if it happens, so that one, it doesn't happen again, but if it does happen, I've got strategies to put in place to help me move past it. And tracking my behaviours, and I did a whole, video, I did a whole live about tracking behaviours rather than tracking food. Tracking food, I think, is really important at the start of your journey. Or let me talk for me. It was important for me at the start of my journey to understand food, to understand, what foods are high in points, hence high in protein and fibre, but low in saturated fats and sugars. Sorry, I said that wrong. The foods that are full of protein and fibre that's going to support a healthy lifestyle and keep us fuller for longer, but also what foods are high in fats and sugars that is going to contribute to weight gain. So tracking has its place. And if you're watching this, I would absolutely say definitely get tracking, especially at the start of your journey, or at those times of your journey where you just need to understand more. And if you love tracking, go for it. Who am I? Who am I? Go for it. But for me, once I was tracking and understanding what the foods that support me and my body, what the foods that's going to help me to shift the weight, and what foods are going to help me to gain weight, once I learned that, so I started tracking, not for tracking's sake, not for endless, mindless tracking. I started tracking for educational purposes, to learn about me, my body, and what brings me weight loss and what prevents weight loss. So I look at tracking with purpose. And my tracking history and relationship with tracking has been all over the place. It really has been. But after 4.5 years, I was at the point where I felt that I know enough about me, my body, my weight loss journey to stop tracking and to not track and not feel guilty about it. So I don't track my food. I haven't tracked my food since September 2023. And since then, I've lost 17 pounds. I still lose weight. And I'm doing that because I know what foods support me. And I manage my portions. Portion control is huge. And I'm able to manage my portions, and I eat really slowly and mindfully. And those are 3 key things that has helped me to not track my food and still lose weight, because on the Weight Watchers plan and on any healthy eating plan, they're teaching us to build healthy habits. And for me, tracking my food for the future long term is not a healthy habit for me, and it's not something that I want to do. I cannot see myself tracking for the next 10, 20 years. No, not happening. So I don't want to commit to something that I know I'm not going to follow through on. But I've used it to help me get to this point. And I'm taking that information to support me around my choices. But I'm also now tracking my behaviours, because that was a massive epiphany that I had about, why am I tracking my food but not my behaviours? It's the behaviours that is going to give me the weight loss. The behaviours. So every time I want to, you know, emotionally eat, track that behaviour. What caused it? When? Why it happened? When it happened? What was the situation? What was the scenario? What did I do in the moment? What did I do to prevent it? What can I do next time? Tracking my behaviour. And that's why I was saying to you earlier, when I had, you know, that the situation with my cat, and I ended up headfirst in the bucket of KFC, and then when I was like food hoarding just to go to the movie, tracking those behaviours, because that's going to stop me from doing it again. I could sit there and I could have tracked the food and the points value and said, okay, that's 100 points. What have I learned from that? What I've learned is that a bucket of KFC, for example, is 100 points. What have I learned from that? Next time I'm going to do that, I'll probably choose something that's 70 points or 120 points. What have I learned from it? You know, you might be completely different and look at it differently, and that's fine. I respect that. But for me, I was like, what am I learning from tracking my food every single day and tracking the same foods that I'm eating? What is that teaching me? Nothing. So I track my behaviour, and I look at why I'm stress eating, why I'm binge eating, what is led to that, what's caused that, and more importantly, what are the strategies that can put me forward, move me past that. So this month I've learned from tracking my behaviour that when I'm sat at home watching a movie, I don't binge. I'm not emotionally eating. But when I'm out with my friends to watch a movie, something is triggered up here that makes me want to hoard food and to eat to excess. And I did a live about this, and what it was, I realised that it was when I'm sat in the dark. Nobody can see me. Nobody can see me. And I was secretly eating in the dark. Now that I know that, and I compare that, and I think that's why when I'm watching a movie at home, or, you know, I'm watching Emmerdale or Corrie or TV at home, I don't do it. I don't do it. Why? Because the lights are on. The lights are on, or the lamp. I often have like my lamps on, so there's light. I'm sat on my own as well, more often than not. But I'm not doing that. I'm not binge eating, not emotionally eating. I'm in my own home and I'm relaxed. Track my behaviour. But as soon as I'm with other people in a movie theatre, in the dark, having to drive there, drive back, the anxiety sets in around driving on the motorway. Completely different behaviours, and the results are different. Start to emotionally eat, the emotions come up, the anxiety comes up, pushing it down with food. So tracking my behaviour for me is 1,000,000 times more valuable than tracking my points on what I eat and drink. What is that telling me? It's just telling me that a sandwich has got 17 points. It's not telling me anything about why I'm eating that sandwich. What's causing me to eat that sandwich? It's not telling me anything about how I'm feeling. What's led to me to eat that, how I feel whilst I'm eating it. Hasn't told me anything about what I feel after I've eaten it. And that's why I don't, you know, I choose not to track and point my food. But I track my behaviours. I track my habits. And one thing that I've learnt, guys, is just because you're in a community, and again, you know, this is a topic for another time, but some of you know that I was raised in a cult. I was raised in a religious cult, and I was raised for, you know, the first 22 years of my life, but that conditioning stayed with me till way past my 40s. And then I went into MLM, multi-level marketing with business, and that had cult-like traits. I'm not saying it was a cult. The religion definitely was a cult, but the business had cult-like traits. So I'm very sensitive to cult-like behaviours. And cult-like behaviours want you to think a certain way, to act a certain way. And you'll often hear the members or the followers saying and doing very similar things. Even if it doesn't make sense, they're doing very similar things. And that's okay. If it makes sense to you and it's working for you, go for it. But there's a lot of things just in life in general. I'm a thinker. You know I'm a thinker. There's a lot of things that I look at and I think, why am I doing that? That doesn't make sense to me. So I do what makes sense to me. It might not make sense to you, and what you do makes sense to you may not make sense to me, and that is okay. So, yeah, I do what makes sense to me, and tracking my behaviour is far more valuable than tracking my points or tracking my food. And sometimes when I say this in the community, I get a lot of disparaging remarks and comments, and people look at me as if, like, you know, but I'm like, that's fine. This is my journey. Your journey is your journey. We have to do what is right for us. And sometimes we have to be brave and put our head above the parapet and say, actually, maybe you're going the wrong way. Maybe that's because you're not seeing the results that you want. Maybe that's because you're following the crowd. And the crowds are just doing what they've always done. As they say, if you always do what you've always done, you're always going to get what you always got. And maybe the crowd is just following what other people have done, hoping for the same results or similar results. And sometimes we have to say, no, that doesn't make sense to me. I'm not doing that. And sometimes we have to stand up and be brave. So, yeah, that's what I do. And it's working for me. £117 lost. I think that's about 8 stone 4 pounds now. And I've found what's working for me, and it's tracking my behaviours rather than tracking my food. Yeah. So there we go, guys. There we go. That is my update for the month of February. So I'm looking forward to this month now, March. I've got a couple of meals out. Thinking about holiday. I've got a lifestyle change coming up, so it'll be interesting to see how that plans out. It is my intention to still do lives every day until maybe after Easter, when I settle down on this project. I will find a regular time to do daily lives, but at the moment, just bear with me. We're all over the place. Some are short, some are long, and they're all at different times, but it is still my intention to keep bringing you lives. Guys, thank you so much for being here with me today. I really, really appreciate you. I appreciate your support of this channel and of my vlogs and of my journey. Really, really appreciate you. If you're still watching at this point, then feel free to hit that subscribe button and click the notification bell if you've not done so already. But also drop a comment in the comment section and let me know how you are doing on your journey. You know, are you a tracker? Is tracking working for you? Tracking your food, is that working for you? Or are you now tracking your behaviours? Or are you doing something else? How are you doing on your journey? Do let me know. Pop it in the comments box below. We're on the road to hitting our first milestone with watch hours. I'm super, super, super excited. We've got less than 500 hours to go. So that's why I'm keeping the momentum up with these lives every day to get there. Although this isn't a live stream, this is a video. So guys, I would love it if you can continue supporting me, and the way to do it is to watch another live stream or another video. If you can even just let it play in the background whilst you're driving or you're cooking or you're cleaning, or even if you're sleeping, just put one on or put a playlist on and let it run. That would help me enormously. That will build the watch hours. But obviously, if you can listen in then and you find it of value, I would really, really appreciate that. But yeah, we are hitting our first milestone soon, and that's down to you. And there's going to be something absolutely superb for when we hit that milestone, something very, very special for you. So guys, thank you so much for being here. Whatever you do this weekend, have a lovely, lovely time, and make your next month count. Get some goals in place if that's how you roll. You know, commit to your journey. Yeah, commit to you and be consistent. Make it happen. Guys, you are beautiful, you are amazing, and you've got this. And I will see you very, very soon. Take care, guys. Bye.